On the vocabulary issue, she was the one that told us in California that you cannot use the word illegal alien, even though we had more illegal aliens at the time than all the other states put together. And we were running massive deficits. We still are. We have a $50 billion deficit. We have the fourth largest reserves of natural gas and oil in the country, and yet we're the biggest consumer of oil. And we're not using it. We're importing $25 billion of energy from places like Kuwait and before probably again, Iran, all these illiberal regimes. And she was the one who banned, as Attorney General, she just toured the state, no fracking, no more offshore drilling, no horizontal drilling. And so we have all of this energy that just sits there where we pay the highest prices of gas in the country. She was the one who was spearheading as Attorney General this disastrous initiative. And she assured everybody, if you decriminalize theft, and that means that anything under $950 would be a misdemeanor, then you will have less crime and you won't have crowded prisons. And everybody said, well, the criminals are not stupid. They're going to know what $950 is, and they're going to steal $800 so they don't commit a felony. And she thought that was absurd, and that's exactly what happened. She was the one that said that we don't want to criminalize homelessness. San Francisco has got the largest homeless population per capita in the country. She was the one that really was. We in California are not in a permanent drought, as people say. 3 years ago, we had the wettest year in history. But during her tenure as Attorney General, we had some wet years, but there was a policy developed by the Brown and Newsom administrations in which we let 90% of the stored water out to the ocean. And we put thousands, if not a million acres of agricultural land that had contractual water agreements both with the state water project and the federal government. And we didn't give them any water. She was a principal on that movement as well. And then of course, the craziest thing is San Francisco is $800 million in debt right as we speak, and the state is $50 billion in debt. And she was the one that pushed reparations. And she was asked specifically, are you for reparations? And she said yes, without even noting that California had always been a free state, that the black population was only about 2.5%, 3%, and more importantly, that 27% of the people who live in California were not born in the United States. So the idea that they're culpable for something that happened, 170 years ago in the Civil War, it was just mind-boggling. So she always promotes these ideas to particular receptive audiences. And this gives a great advantage to the Trump administration because she's never spoken in California. There is no such thing as an adversary or opponent audience. And she didn't do that in her misadventure as a primary candidate. So she has never spoken in her entire life to a hostile crowd, and she can't do it. And what that does to her, she doesn't just say that she's on the left. She says, I'm a radical. Or she doesn't just say, I'm for reparations. She says, let me be clear about it. She doesn't just say we should have no private health care. Let's just get done with it and start over. So she emphatically doubles down, and that gives people an advantage to say, look, she was emphatic. And the other thing is, which is, I'll finish, is that she's the first presidential candidate, I think, in modern history that has never entered a primary, much less won a primary, and got the nomination. She's never entered a primary. And I don't know how that can happen, but what it shows you is that she's never, ever gone before a mixed audience and tried to make the case for her views. She's always assumed that everybody in the audience and all the reporters agree with her, so to ingratiate herself, she has been more left than nailed.